Before getting out of bed, how many of us pick up the phone and scroll through Facebook's homepage? As you know, a social network is not created by itself, and we all know who created Facebook. But are we really sure that we know who Mark Zuckerberg really is? Above all, are we sure that we've signed up for entrepreneur tips, enabled the notifications, and clicked the like button? Okay, now we can really get started. Mark Zuckerberg was born in White Plains, New York State in 1984, son of a dentist and a psychiatrist. Mark's childhood is carefree, like any boy from the American middle class, and educated, according to the Jewish religion, even if you would soon become an atheist. Since he was a child, Mark has had a predilection for the humanities and the classics. He was able to recite epic poems such as the Iliad by heart. But the classical subjects and humanities, as well as a passion for languages, are not Zuckerberg's only interests. Indeed, since a child, he developed an unbridled passion for information technology and new technologies. He learns the programming language since middle school, specifically BASIC, taught by his father, who's also passionate about computer science. Subsequently, he takes private lessons from a developer, David Newman, who calls him a genius. During his high school years, Mark Zuckerberg starts writing software. The first was Synapse Media Player, which uses machine learning to learn the musical preferences of the user and store them in a database. This program manages to appear in the famous PC magazine. After high school, Mark Zuckerberg enrolled at Harvard for the Bachelor of Science in Computer Science. From there, the idea of Facebook was born. In fact, during the Harvard years, the student first writes a program called Course Match, which allowed users to choose courses to attend based on the choices of other students and to create online study groups. A little later, he creates another program, initially called Face Match, which allowed students to establish, choosing from several photos, the most beautiful girl and boy on campus. This program had such a high success rate, it put an overload on the campus internet network and made it drop, preventing students to connect to the network. From here, Mark Zuckerberg understands the extent of the social phenomenon and founds the site thefacebook.com, leaving Harvard and working exclusively on the project. Facebook's story almost seems taken from a movie. When he was still a Harvard student, Mark thinks of this platform in the university canteen. The idea of the famous social network comes from high school yearbooks. Indeed, in the United States, it is customary to publish the student's yearbook with their photos, personal data, courses they attended, and interests that they already called the Facebook. Mark thus decides to found the company in 2004 and makes it an online yearbook for Harvard. With his comrades and colleagues Moskowitz, Savarin, Hughes, and McCollum, he then decided to expand it to other American universities. The first to be involved were Stanford University, Dartmouth College, and Columbia University. At that point, the idea becomes too greedy, not to develop it globally. This is how Mark and Moskowitz decide to move along with other co-workers in Palo Alto, California, working from home, which was used at the time also as an office. The first person to believe in the idea of opening a global social network is Peter Thiel, who invested in the company. They had, at this point, already rejected several offers made by companies intending to buy Facebook. Zuckerberg's biography is often seen as a crime scene due to several legal actions. One of these is carried out by the Winklevoss brothers, who accuse Facebook of having stolen the idea of the social network. In fact, according to the accusations made against Zuckerberg, the latter would have copied the ideas of a social network from the idea of the two brothers and Divya Narendra, who founded HarvardConnection.com, a social network of the university campus that Zuckerberg promised to develop together with the Winklevosses, but which he actually copied for his Facebook. Following the accusations, Zuckerberg acknowledges his responsibilities and closes his deal from $300 million in Facebook stock for the three accusers. The direction of Facebook and Zuckerberg is known to everybody. They achieved many milestones until the social media was listed on the stock exchange in 2012. At this time, the company Facebook Incorporated has held its IPO priced at $38 per share, bringing the company's total value to $104 billion, marking the highest debut ever made by a company on the American stock market. Among the various Facebook lenders, we also find Microsoft, which decides to acquire 1.6% of the shares. Furthermore, Facebook has established the famous hackathons, competitions held every 6 or 8 weeks where participants have one night to conceive and complete a project. The company supplies music, food, and beer to the hackathons, and many members of Facebook's staff, including Mark, often attended. The idea is that you can create something extraordinary in one night, Zuckerberg told Levy. This is part of Facebook's personality, and it's truly at the heart of my personality. To date, Mark Zuckerberg's estate is around $101.2 billion, which makes him one of the richest and most powerful men on the planet. Despite the Cambridge Analytica scandal that has affected its growth in the past, today the heritage of Zuckerberg is experiencing an important recovery, thanks to the new strategies of Facebook's and the pandemic of the coronavirus, which has skyrocketed the use of the famous American businessman's applications. In Zuckerberg's life, there have been several real estate investments, which in time were made by the founder of Facebook. For example, in 2011, he bought a home which costed him $7 million with 4,500 square feet. In 2012, the castle of La Vitsola in the province of Asti for a total of $8 million. In 2012, Zuckerberg married his current wife, Priscilla Chan, with whom he had 2 girls in 2015 and 2017. Zuckerberg's wife proves to be a precious help in his life, not only personally, but also professionally, and still today she takes care of the family's business. Together with his wife, Zuckerberg has pledged to donate 99% of his wealth to charities before dying. He has already poured millions of dollars into educational projects and has been committed to investing billions in noble initiatives, such as the treatment of the most common diseases in the world. He's a vegetarian and always wears a gray t-shirt because he claims to not have enough time to waste in the morning, he revealed in 2012 to the Wall Street Journal. After all, who said that rich people must have time or interest in designer clothes? He loves Lady Gaga and the Daft Punk. He has a dog, a Hungarian Puli. His name is Beast, and he has over 2,500,000 fans on Facebook. Have you ever wondered why Facebook's main color is blue? You will have heard the various hypotheses, like that the color blue is more captivating and therefore able to keep people attached to the screen. The truth is that Zuckerberg is colorblind, not distinguishing red and green very well. He said years ago at ABC, and that blue is the richest and most easily distinguishable color in his eyes. In January 2021, Facebook CEO Mark Zuckerberg announced in a post that he had decided to suspend the account of the outgoing US President, Donald Trump, indefinitely, and at least for 2 weeks from Facebook and Instagram. In his message, Zuckerberg says the risk of continuing to allow him to use our services at the moment is simply too big. As this fact is shown, Mark Zuckerberg is much more than an entrepreneur or a CEO. Today we know that it's possible to define him as a full-fledged master on Earth. He's nevertheless like other great minds. Just think about Jeff Bezos or Elon Musk. These men are dreamers who, with a simple idea, have influenced the daily life of us all. Have you ever thought about it? That's it for today. And you, what have you learned from this crazy story? And what are you going to put into practice? On my signal, unleash the comments. We'll be back very soon, but in the meantime, make sure as well as having subscribed to have liked and shared this story, to have notifications activated, so that you're not going to miss any exclusive entrepreneur tips content. And remember that in the end, we will be remembered for what we did, not for our mistakes. We'll see you next time on Entrepreneur Tips.